Ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
Fantasy Sports puts you in control of your own team. The Nick Bonsanto Show is proud to present the Star Fantasy League Show. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, co-hosted by SFL CEO Zach Stanley and SFL COO Seth Young. The Star Fantasy League Show, on the air.
Make this game your finest hour.
Now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on the Sports Byline USA Network. I am your host, Jonathan Sprung, joined, as always, by SFL CEO Zach Stanley.
It's good to be here. I feel like we're doing the big panda exchange lately with Seth and Nick flopping out here.
The Panda Exchange. I don't think that's what think it is.
Our cozy bear exchange.
Wow.
What? Okay, let's explain this. Seth Young, we said on yesterday's show, shipped off to Omaha, Nebraska, or Tallahassee, depending on which segment you listen to of the show.
He told me both.
Oh, okay. Well, we're welcoming in a member of the SFL family who's been on a couple times before, Nick Stablenko. Welcome back, Nick.
How's it going?
It's going great. I'm very excited that you have the Red Sox gear you're repping. It's baseball season's upon us, basically. Zach's wearing Syracuse. If you guys are watching us, we're live streaming this on the internet right now.
He really looks like he is working for a fantasy sports company.
I thought you were going to say it looks like he's playing for the Red Sox.
I thought he was going to go back in the direction of the whole bear thing, honestly. I don't know. I'm a
you
big
look
bear,
like a,
right?
You look like a
Panda bear, though?
Vaughn.
Can I be a grizzly bear? It's a little bit more menacing.
You look
Just
like a grizzly bear throwing a baseball.
I did shave, though. I got no more hair.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, you were like, I gotta make sure I look good for being on the air. We're on
And
YouTube.
I do.
We're not
Thank
on
you
the
very
air.
much.
We're on. We have faces for radio. All of us. Come on.
We're all over the place.
That's true. On today's show, since we got such a great reception for Jonald's mailbag yesterday, Jonald's mailbag is back today with even better questions from our listeners. We're also breaking down today's NBA lineups, and obviously Wednesday is the best day for basketball, right, Zach? Best
Huge
day.
night.
I'm so excited.
Huge day coming tomorrow.
Nick, are you ready for today's show? Lots of
I am
basketball.
absolutely ready. Let's get going.
I would say you actually learn, unlike Seth, so let's see if you learned a little
I
bit.
might have to throw 2 cents in tonight.
And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
People, or even play the Star Fantasy League's free tournaments for your chance to win something for nothing. Put your money where your mouth is. Prove your expertise. Get your game on today at starfantasyleagues.com. Nick Bonsanto is proud to present the Star Fantasy League Show. Feel free to tweet the show at SFL Show. Let's do this. Time for your Star Fantasy League's NBA fantasy lineup breakdown. You're up.
All right, guys. I don't think we pay the voiceover guy enough. We also don't give him enough water or food in his cage because he just did, I believe, 3 back-to-back cold reads. Did you hear that? He did a commercial, he did an intro, and he did a lineup breakdown thing.
Well, every time I go out and get soup, I bring him back crackers.
Well,
So that's something.
I thought you weren't.
It's actually more like the crumbles of crackers after I have a couple.
I was gonna say, I don't think you're able to eat like 9 saltines in a row. So he might actually die if you give him too many saltines.
I think it's 6.
Oh, okay. Nick, is it 6 or 9? This is actually news to me. Oh,
I don't know.
great.
I
It's
think-
both, apparently. Thanks, Scott.
6.
It's 6.
6.
Good, lovely. I love that we actually have a bell. That,
I think I know a girl that accomplished that. I'm not kidding.
Get out of here. Everybody
She
knows
literally
a
only
person.
eats. She literally only eats French fries.
That's really, really strange. All right, guys, we are breaking down Tuesday's NBA lineup on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Since we got Nick here, he's actually been learning a little bit since he's been working at Star Fantasy League. So
I have been avoiding a bit of bashing. Yes, I have.
I was like, unlike Seth, who apparently couldn't even get people that were starting in the NBA yesterday.
It's the only thing I'm disappointed about right now is I know Nick's going to put together a legitimate lineup, and I can't just rip into Seth.
Oh, don't worry. We can rip in, I'm sure.
He's already started.
He was
He
cheering for
knows.
people earlier. I was like, why? Okay, Nick. Let's break it down. You got a $100,000 salary cap on StarFantasyLeagues.com. 2 guards, 2 forwards, 2 centers, 2 utility. Our listeners know the drill by now, but if you don't, that's how you break down your team. Let's do it. Who do you got?
All right. My big gun for tonight, I went with LaMarcus Aldridge. I really like his matchup. I think that's going to be a back-and-forth kind of game. They got the Thunder coming into town, so they're at home. I think that for the value, I think he can put up a good number of points.
I agree. This is a game I talked about last night.
At length, we did.
That I was getting excited for. This is always a great matchup, always exciting. Durant and Aldridge should both have big games tonight. Obviously, Aldridge is a little better value right now. allowing Nick to get a little better lineup.
Yeah, saving you about 21,000-ish.
Yeah, he's right around 21,000.
That saved you about $3,000 over Durant. That's not a bad
that was
value.
my thought.
Okay, you're starting off well. Let's see how you progress.
All right, well, I'm going to bring up Al Jefferson next. I think Al Jefferson is still playing above his value, and
above his value is
yes,
like 18,000.
Yeah, no, I think he's still in the neighborhood of Aldridge. I think I still think he's good. He's worth it.
All right, what do you think, Zach?
I have Al Jefferson in my lineup.
Do you really?
I do. I thought his value was decent. I am a little concerned tonight just because Dallas is center, middle of the pack.
Okay, I've talked about this every time we look at a Dallas game. They are completely white across the board, which means they aren't the top in the league. They aren't the bottom. They are dead center in every single statistical category. They're a slow-paced team. The over-under for this game was under 200. I didn't feel, and Kemba Walker's back. Henderson's healthy. I mean,
I've just been very impressed with Al Jefferson, and I think the big difference late in the year right now is that he's been playing so many minutes. He's getting up to 39, 38 minutes per game, and that has upped his value big time.
I think we're actually going to agree to disagree for once.
We're agreeing to disagree.
This is pretty good because you get some actual debate on the show.
He's going to have to put up like 40 tonight to have value, though.
Exactly.
It's going to be a little tough.
With his price at 18,000, you definitely need to. He needs to get up there.
He's doing pretty well so far.
Yeah, well, when you get in that range, it's kind of like if you got a guy. So many of the guys are up there tonight. Aldridge at 21, LeBron at 21.5, even
DeMarcus is up there.
Yeah, even DeMarcus is well ahead of him. So Al Jefferson, in terms of the top tier guys, isn't a bad play. I don't think.
Okay, the way that you break it down.
If you can fit some other guys in there,
yeah,
it works out for you.
I went with LaMarcus and DeMarcus in my lineup when I could. I mean, if I needed to save some money, maybe, but Jefferson just wasn't really on my radar tonight. Continue, Nick. I guess you're inciting debate. So that's not so bad.
I guess I am. Yes. Value pick of the night, I think, Nick Kalathis. I mean, you're probably only going to get to use him like one or two more times. Mike Conley's going to come back, whether or not it's tomorrow or after the All-Star break. Kalathis has been a pretty good value play, and
I think that might be the understatement of the year. He's been around 4,000 to 5,000 the entire time. He has been going off every game around the 18 to 28 range.
He's in the 18 to 30 range even. And I've been impressed with his play. He plays conservatively, so you're not going to get a lot, but he plays really smart.
He's a no-brainer at this point.
And he's a sharpshooter. I mean, and at 4,800, he's the best guy on the board for value.
He's been since he's been getting the starts, he's been owned around 70 to 90% every night. But you definitely need to have him in your lineups. I agree.
Unfortunately, for like a GPP play, I don't know if that's such a great idea.
That's guaranteed prize pool, guys.
Guaranteed prize pool. I don't know, just because you need a little bit of variation in some of those pools, but he's in 50% of leagues tonight, so
that's true.
He's going to be owned all over the place tonight.
Yeah,
he's a must.
But I would say you got to have him to make sure you're getting your big names in tonight. Who else we got?
Well, I also have Sean Williams in for the Lakers. Looks like he's going to be starting over Ryan Kelly. I think that was the intel I had.
Who is starting on this team ever? I actually had at one point this starting lineup printed out, and then I looked at it. I was like, that can't be right.
John, do you know this? This team drives me absolutely nuts. And it could just as well happen that Williams comes in and gets 16, 17 minutes for the game because Ryan Kelly starts shooting well. Or they go with a bigger lineup or a smaller lineup. You never know what's going to happen with this team. There's only a couple reliable players tonight on that team, one of which I think is Chris Kaman on StarFantasyLeagues.com, who's at 8,900, and that is an absolute steal since he's starting tonight.
I have him in as well.
He's starting. Steve Nash is starting. Blake is starting. Sean Williams is starting. Who's the last starter?
Wesley.
Oh, God, and Wesley, too. Who's the 4 on that team? Sean Williams, maybe?
Yeah, I suppose. Jordan Hill's on the bench tonight.
Yeah, I don't understand this team. They're frustrating.
I don't understand Mike D'Antoni anymore.
This is true. That's why I'm kind of. I mean, I put Kaman in there. Wes Johnson I got in there for really cheap. I tried to avoid the Lakers because there is no rotation. Kendall Marshall's getting minutes, then he's getting them yanked away. Blake's getting minutes, and he's kind of just doing his thing.
There's so few players that are reliable, especially when they throw Nash in there. Farmar, Young, who's playing, who's injured. It's always chaos. You really got to pick the battles there.
The only thing about the Lakers is that they have a short bench, too. So if you're hot, you're going to get some minutes.
Well, and they have a coach who goes, ooh, you're hot, you're going to stay in there, even regardless of how they're actually playing.
Happens, it happens.
Yeah, right now they got a big bench, and Wesley has had a great couple games in a row.
Cuse.
And he's probably good for 40 minutes again tonight, so we'll see.
Yeah, and they're playing Utah, who notoriously doesn't really play well at defense anywhere. That's another over 200 over-under, and it's going to be a close game,
another
most
close
likely.
game, I would think.
Yeah, which that bodes well for fantasy, obviously. You want close games, high scoring. That's the best formula you can have.
All right, who we got?
Who else?
I have Goran Dragic in. I like Goran Dragic right now. I think it's this is going to be an interesting matchup because Miami's coming to town against Phoenix. Phoenix is a surprise team right now, and I think that this might be one of those where Miami might mail it in a little bit. Maybe not the whole game, but they might mail it in a little bit.
Miami mail job?
Late scratch for Dwayne Wade, though.
Yeah, that is true.
Usually you see LeBron and Bosh step up a little bit in these games where Wade is out. Wade, talk about a headache.
Literally, a headache.
All year long, an absolute headache. You never know when he's going to play. Today they said he went through shoot-around, and when he goes through shoot-around, you would presume that he would play, but that's not the case.
Nope.
I mean, do you think this is the end of the line for LeBron and the boys in Miami?
I don't know. If this wasn't a fantasy podcast, we'd debate that for 78 minutes
we could.
every
You're
day.
Right. You're right.
All right, who else we got? You got two more?
I got Kemba Walker. I like Kemba Walker.
I can't defend that at all.
I know. That's fine.
I don't think I saw what you saw. Like I said, Dallas is middle of the road. There's either better or worse matchups to key in on, and I don't look towards a Dallas team. Either they're playing or playing against. I
had a lot of trouble thinking that Kemba Walker would make value tonight, especially with his salary on StarFantasyLeagues.com. And with Isaiah Thomas just above him at 15,300. I love Isaiah Thomas. He's the man. And I'm so happy that they threw out some guys to get him in there and let him go off.
What, you mean threw Marcus Thornton to the Wolves?
Well,
did he get injured? I think he got injured.
Yeah, and they made that trade too. The Rudy Gay trade.
Oh, Grievous Vasquez is gone. Yeah, that is right. Isaiah Thomas,
freed
he's
up
the
big
guy.
Minutes for him, and they made him the guy.
That is true. Nick, you got one more in your lineup?
I got one more.
Okay.
I got Courtney Lee. I also threw him in. I love him. I like the value. Still no Mike Conley.
I was gonna say, anytime I'm seeing injuries, no Mike Conley, no Tony Allen. Another set of guys we're not even talking about today. Varejau's out. C.J. Miles is out. Boozer's out. Noah's got to be, or excuse me, not Noah. Noah and Taj Gibson.
Taj Gibson is a must play, especially at 11,500. It's not even a question.
Completely agree. Those are things you got to pay attention to when you're looking at your lineup on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Injury news and notes come out like 3-4 minutes before games. I didn't see Boozer was out until 5 minutes before the game.
Yeah, Varejao was late news. C.J. Miles was late news, giving Waiters a decent spot start there as well.
I got Waiters and Gibson in tonight. You got to pay attention, guys. That's what we're here for. We're giving you the late breaking news on injuries, updates, news. That's how you get your best lineup every night.
We'll talk tomorrow's injuries coming up.
Yes, we will. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
SFL Show. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy Leagues team by tweeting at SFL Show.
Yep.
Oh, man, voiceover guy, you are really earning your keep today.
I love Donald's mailbag.
That was awesome.
I did that for the Star Fantasy League show on a whim. I thought, wow, that was awesome. I thought that was a funny thing to do. I did it kind of secretive, and I just put it on the air without Seth or Zach knowing.
Yeah, we got the surprise last night. I was thrilled.
He does. Our voiceover guy actually does good work when he's not sitting in his cage sleeping all day. It's pretty
wake
good.
him up.
That's true. He's only got to perform 3 hours a week. No
Sounds
big
like
deal.
you played with him today.
All right, Nick, you've never been a part of Donald's mailbag.
I have not.
Are you ready for the pain?
I am ready. Let's go.
Oh, you ready? Oh, yeah, you're into that stuff. That's weird, man. That's weird. All right, Random Slifkin writes, are the Philadelphia 76ers an NBA franchise, or would they better be suited for the D-League at this point? This is a real question from Random Slifkin, obviously.
These last two games, it's hard to say. I mean, I'm wondering historically
how bad
when the last time a team has lost 2 games in a row like that, 43 and 45 points.
I'll say, would you like the stats? This is good. On Sunday, 27% shooting, out-rebounded double, 24-48. On Monday, 36.7% shooting. Wow, what an upgrade. It got out-rebounded 38-60.
That's brutal.
That
is absolutely
brutal. Including second halves where their backups basically play. So these could have been
if
worse.
You look at these games from a fantasy perspective, obviously you're losing out on all the minutes that could potentially be played. But these guys on the 76ers, there's not even a guy that in the short minutes that they're playing stands out at all.
MCW.
Right,
no.
MCW had a decent game.
I'm just saying, he had a good game last night. Give a little love for Cuse out here.
The game before,
Come on.
he didn't.
That was Zach is showing his Q's shirt to people who are listening on the radio. You want to try that again?
They're listening and viewing.
This is true.
The Q's.
76ers are bad.
Number 1, undefeated.
They mailed it in, though, by the way. They really did. I mean, they're going – apparently because it's a deep draft. Seriously.
No. We know. They're going.
This guy mailed it in, and we're telling him how freaking bad they are.
That's true.
This is
I can't
true.
bear to watch another one of those games.
You actually watched
And,
one of those two games?
They're playing the Jazz tomorrow night, so that's like bad versus bad. Maybe that'll be reasonable.
Oh yeah, in our last segment, we break down tomorrow's games. That game will get quite a bit of attention from all of us. I know for a fact it will. All right, let's move on. Judge Judy writes, now that the dust has settled on the Marcus Smart incident, what do you think his future holds as an NBA prospect? Marcus Smart went into the crowd, didn't mean to go in the crowd, had some words exchanged, and shoved a very old man.
Did you see the interview with his coach? It was almost like he was talking in the third person Marcus. He was like, Marcus Smart has heart. I love Marcus Smart. He's a good man. And
you do a very good impression.
He didn't really talk like that. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's a good impression. That doesn't sound like him whatsoever. But good impression, Zach.
But he kept saying his full name over and over again.
Marcus Smart's a good man.
I don't think this. First of all, I think there was a racial slur that was dropped here.
Piece of crap is what he claimed.
That's what he
said.
claimed.
Get out.
And there was
here.
another Texas Tech fan that knows this guy who was like, yeah, he's a pretty crazy fan. Something here was obviously said. This guy gets heckled all the time. But something here was obviously said that set this guy off and made this happen. And I think that the school is just avoiding any talk about what was actually said, and so is he, for the betterment of his future.
Yeah, seriously.
Maybe, I don't know.
Just move on. You kind of have to.
It was.
Yeah, there's really nothing better.
It was rough. It was rough to watch, honestly, and I felt for him because he was so upset.
How upset is he that he came back now? Because he was projected to be a very high pick last year. It didn't. He went back to school. It's kind of the wheels are kind of falling off for him. He's kind of out of the top 5 right now. I mean, it is a deep draft, but he's slipping.
I think he'll still define himself. I wouldn't take this as something to be overly concerned about.
It's going to be a
After
story.
all, there's more than a few players in the NBA that have ventured well into the stands, and some of them are doing fine.
Malice at the Palace.
And some players who look like they want to venture into the stands, like DeMarcus Cousins, who always looks like he wants to punch a fan in the face every single game.
If he's tempered himself a little bit this year.
If he can survive in the NBA, I think Marcus Smart might be just
That's true. All right, that's a good point to move on. Rob Chudzinski writes, oh, good, he's got back on his feet. What just happened in Cleveland? The Browns were a team on the rise, and an injury-plagued season led to them blowing up their front office again. That is true. CEO Joe Banner and GM Michael Lombardi both gone, a month after they fired their coach?
Yep.
A season after, I don't think it was that bad. Like, what were they expecting?
I mean, it is a big shakeup, but from what I understand, they also kind of simplified things a little bit. They eliminated the CEO position, and they actually allowed their president to become a real president, and they kind of separated different facets of the business.
But they stole everyone from my Bills.
Well, that's true.
Zach has to get the Bills into as many just facets of life as
They fired everybody and then just started robbing us.
Oh. Did you hear they promoted their assistant GM who claims that he was going to go take another job, but they said, no, just stay here, we'll take care of you, and that's why all of a sudden he's the GM of the team.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a little shady, isn't it?
Sure, but if you know what direction you want to go in, it's the NFL. It's a production league.
I feel
you
bad.
have to put a good product out on the field every single season.
The Trent Richardson move was genius.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think
it was genius.
Mike Lombardi did a good job. Chudzinski did pretty okay with dealing with a season of Brandon Whedon. He didn't draft the guy. He wanted to play Hoyer. Hoyer actually played really well, and guess what? He got stuck with Whedon in the end.
I don't necessarily know if that move was genius. I don't know.
My God.
I don't know that you'll ever know how that was really going to play out. I really don't.
I'm watching it play out.
That's
fine. That's fine. I mean, pick up your entire life and move it somewhere else and see how you do.
The guy was never averaging any decent amount of yards ever, and he was never busting out 20-yard
They
rushes either.
They also have one of the they don't have a very strong offensive line. They don't clear holes. They don't block for anybody. They're one of the worst rushing teams in the league.
This is smut. I won't.
They are. They average like 86 yards a game on the ground.
I won't listen to your nonsense.
All right, I'm gonna have to wrangle this fight.
Bobby Rainey comes in and goes off.
We're gonna have to wrangle this fight. We actually have a really good listener question next. Seth Young writes, I think that name's familiar. When did Luol Deng stop playing for the Chicago Bulls, and why isn't Zach Randolph playing point guard anymore? What is happening? I don't know. That's it. We're moving on from that question.
That's what Seth said?
Yeah, sure, Seth. If you're listening, that's what you said. I'm wink, wink.
And why did we not get Luol Deng in a Bulls uniform and put it? That would have been so easy.
Because he plays in one. We don't need to put that on our board because it's not a joke.
Not a Bulls.
He used to play for them.
Not anymore.
Okay, we're going to get Zach Randolph imposed on Mike Conley's body. That is actually happening, guys. All right,
that actually happened.
Zach Randolph running the point. Yeah, we got Sova in the background.
Thaddeus Young writes, from a fantasy standpoint, who stands the most to gain from a trade deadline change of scenery? What about the player that has the most to lose? So most to gain, most to lose from being traded at the deadline.
Is this the Little Rock Thaddeus Young?
No.
Or the Philadelphia one?
This is the Philadelphia Thaddeus.
Oh, wow, that's so... I can't believe
with
he's
2 Ds.
listening. That's
We're
so
getting,
nice
well,
of him.
Rob Chudzinski, Judge Judy, we got a lot of good... And then we got Seth, so never mind. Who do you think... We talked about Jeff Green getting moved. I actually think Atlanta, great spot for him. Great spot.
They've been giving production on
I don't even
though.
know what's going on with Jeff Green anymore.
He's going somewhere. Danny Ainge is shopping him like he's never shopped anyone before.
And he should.
Yeah, oh yeah. He doesn't belong on this team.
He's completely inconsistent, and I don't think Brad Stevens likes him very much.
Yeah, I don't think Brad Stevens likes... Yeah.
But there's a lot of players that could get moved right now. I think a player... Kenneth Faried could get moved.
Yeah, we got our next
Kyle
question.
Lowry.
Our next question has to deal with a lot of these guys. We're going to go lightning round quickly through that. But who do you think stands the most to gain if
it's
they
hard
are
to know
traded?
because usually what happens in one of these situations is that a team comes out of nowhere and they're like,
scoop somebody up,
blockbuster deal, and you can't believe that it just happened, and there he is on the other team, and then you have to evaluate it. It's very difficult right now to say, well, he's going to go here and he's going to benefit from it.
Well, we saw from the Luol Deng trade, came out of nowhere, wasn't reported on, and Luol Deng's kind of just middling away in Cleveland. He's not really doing much.
Yeah, Mike Brown hasn't treated Luol Deng very well. It doesn't
Mike
seem
Brown,
like.
I can't believe he has a coaching job.
Who doesn't really? Yeah, I agree. And who clearly doesn't understand how much value Luol Deng brings to the court as a defender.
Yep.
And is just worried about his offensive production.
For a team that plays no defense outside of the center position. That's about it. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the last question because it does deal with the same exact thing. Sideshow Bob writes, which rumored deadline deal do you see having the most likelihood of being a reality? I'll name off all the names that I've seen in trades. We'll say yes or no really quickly. And if you have anything to say. Jeff Green, yes or no?
Will he be traded?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I agree too. Chris Kaman, his name's been brought up quite a bit.
I have no idea. This guy goes all over the place.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why are they? I know he makes money. Like, they don't want to pay a center that they're not playing, obviously. But somebody has to want this guy, right?
I mean, when he gets minutes, he is a fantasy stud, but he is one of the worst defenders in the league.
This is true. I feel like he does.
I don't even know who's going to want him.
I don't really see him being productive for another team.
All right,
I don't see where he's going to help.
This one gets brought up every freaking offseason. It's annoying. Rajon Rondo.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I think we're past the point of no return with Rondo. That was a rumor last year.
It's a rumor every single deadline.
I know it is, but I think this is the time at which we got to let this whole thing go. He's staying, and they're trying to build a team around him.
The only time I see him going is probably in a couple years down the road.
Yeah, when he's looking for his next contract or whatever.
That might be right. Kyle Lowry.
No.
No? Why would they?
I don't know.
They've been
I don't know.
so good.
Yeah, you're talking about a team that has shuffled so many players in and out over the past few years. I don't understand why they would trade him. They should be trying to build around this guy. He's so rounded. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He's a smart player.
All right, before we head to break, I want to get your thoughts on Philadelphia as a team. Who goes, who stays? You know they're blowing it up.
Yard sale is coming. Michael Carter-Williams will stay. Evan Turner will go. I think that's where I'm at right now.
You think that's it? What about you, Nick, quickly?
Honestly, I'm going to just stick with him on this one. I think Zach knows what he's talking about there.
I think Thad Young is going.
Thad Young could easily go.
He seems very upset. Spencer Hawes is making too much money to be even considered on that team.
I think Thad would be the next guy after Evan Turner, but they are dying to get rid of Evan Turner.
No, they're not dying to get rid of. They're dying to get rid of anyone that has a heartbeat at this point that's not named MCW.
Maybe they'll get rid of their coach.
Yeah, that might be true. They might get rid of everything. It's a yard sale, like you said. And after the break, we're going to have a yard sale on tomorrow's NBA action. We're going to break everything down for you. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
Sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at starfantasyleagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League show with Jonathan, Zach, and Seth.
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Seth?
apparently we were on mute because I love keeping us muted during breaks. That was embarrassing, guys.
That was a folly.
I was just about to say
upset.
I was just about to say what a bad job that the voiceover guy was doing. That he doesn't know that Seth is not Nick. He's a little confused.
You know how upset I get when I miss my precious airtime.
Zach's sitting there going, "Come on, unmute us.
I'm waiting.
Come on, we're uncomfortable."
Well, Seth is here in spirit, I think.
I don't think so.
He's hovering.
That is very true. Seth's spirit is not anywhere near here. Let's keep him out of the conversation. You know what we should keep the conversation towards, Zach? Basketball.
Okay.
I love Wednesday.
Okay.
Don't you love Wednesday basketball? Seriously?
I do. This is when I get really excited.
The Tuesday
Can
show,
you see me getting excited?
Yeah, the Tuesday Star Fantasy League show is my favorite part of the week because we get to break down usually over 10 games. So we should probably stop making small talk and actually talk about.
No, we got to get after it. We only got so much time here.
Okay. So like I said, on StarFantasyLeague.com, when you have 13 games to look at, you got to find these matchups that are either good for offense, bad for defense. You got to see who you're actually looking towards and who you're avoiding. Let's start out with the games you're absolutely avoiding and you wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Where are we heading?
I'm not a big fan of the Dallas-Indiana game.
I think you already know my thoughts on that. Indiana is obviously the best defense in the league, or top 2 depending on the day of the week, whatever. But Dallas is middle of the road against everything. It's not worth going against them. Indiana's going to be a big favorite in this game. They're 8-point favorite right now. Low spread. I mean,
I'm not a big fan of the Memphis-Orlando game.
Really? Even if Mike Conley's out yet again, you're not going for the Calathes, the Lee
all right.
combo?
I mean, any of these games you could be looking at one guy, but I'm saying
no, but still, I'm not touching anybody from Dallas. I don't even want to look at it. I don't want to hear about it. If you're playing for those two teams, get me far away from you. No, thank you.
It could also be a blowout with Dallas on a back-to-back.
Yes, that is true. I wanted to mention this. I believe almost half of the teams tomorrow night are on back-to-backs. Mm-hmm. That's unheard of. How are they scheduling this?
This happens.
It's not really good from a fantasy standpoint.
Thanks a lot,
well,
Adam
I think
Silver.
you know what I think is going on. I think is they're trying to rush in a few games before. I think this is what they scheduled before the All-Star break.
Oh, you know what? This actually does make sense.
This does make sense.
I believe Thursday is the last day before the weekend, obviously.
And there's only going to be a couple, 2 or 3 games
I think there's
Thursday.
2. Yeah, okay, so here's my question. Why couldn't you have done 10 games on Wednesday and 5 games on Thursday? Seriously. That seems too smart.
I don't think they're ever going to do the Thursday thing that we're hoping for.
Every day.
I know.
With the growth of daily fantasy sports, especially on StarFantasyLeagues.com, throw us a bone. Give us 5 games to choose from on Thursday.
You know TNT loves it.
Yeah, they want
nobody's
everything.
looking at anything else but their 2 games.
I would say they want as much attention as possible, and the rest of the league goes, "Aw, we want some airtime." Nope.
There's usually a decent matchup there, though.
That's very true.
There's usually something to watch.
All right, let's talk decent matchups. Since you said there's 2 games you want to avoid, there's obviously got to be at least a couple games you want to break down in more depth. Let's hit it.
I am very geared up for Carmelo Anthony tomorrow night.
That's a matchup?
Well, all right, this game in general, but that is his matchup. I think he's going to take over this game. I think this is going to be huge for him.
There's another back-to-back. Kings
Sacramento
are on a back-to-back.
coming into New York, maybe some slow legs. It's hard to see New York ever blowing anybody out, so they could totally stay in this game. I think Melo. I think Melo is the guy tomorrow night.
I completely agree. I do believe I have a big bullseye on Carmelo Anthony. It just says Melo on my breakdown sheet. But he is, I'm sorry, another Q. Zach's just pointing to his shirt.
This is like the Q show. We've talked about Michael Carter-Williams, Deion Waiters, Melo.
Wesley Johnson. We also talked about. That is true. Hold on. Can we also give a shout-out to Chris Joseph, who made the Celtics last year for about 5 minutes and then got cut? Oops, that happened.
Poor Chris Joseph.
Poor Chris Joseph. He gave me a
But,
that happens.
Can't all make it.
What can you do?
We're gonna get a couple guys in the draft next year. At least 2, maybe 3. That's gonna be exciting. I'm pretty happy about that. All right, where else are we going other than Carmelo? That's obviously a matchup thing, like you said. Sacramento's got some tired legs tomorrow night, most likely.
The Denver-Minnesota game is pretty intriguing. Very high over/under in that game.
Yeah, it's currently at 211. Minnesota 6.5-point favorite. I feel like that's pretty big. Obviously, Denver's got some injuries. This depends on Ty Lawson's status. That line.
If Lawson is out, Foy could be an excellent start spot.
Why is he starting at point guard? Is it because Nate Robinson's out? They don't trust Evan Fournier at all?
No, there's no reason to trust anybody at point guard besides Randy Foy with the injuries that they have, in my opinion. The way that Kevin Love has been playing when he's been healthy without Pekovic in has just been unbelievable.
Well, he's shouldering the entire
He's just killing
load.
it. He's got a fantastic matchup. He didn't do that well. I guess that well means for him like 29 points and 15 rebounds.
Yeah. Oh no, still 40 fantasy points.
But he's got a matchup against 28th ranked power forward defense for Denver.
Yeah, Fareed hasn't been that great.
No, Fareed hasn't been that great, and honestly, I'm surprised at the decisions that Brian Shaw has made in not developing his talents, because I think that he's a guy that could end up being really good in the league. He plays really hard. He's explosive. It's disappointing to see coaches that are on teams that won't make it to the finals anyways. Obviously, they're like, well, if they make the playoffs, that's good enough for them, stuff like that. But I think Fareed deserves the minutes. They don't have great alternatives for him.
You know who an interesting comparison to Fareed is? Jared Sullinger in Boston. Like you said, a team that's completely out of it. A new coach is giving him minutes and developing him, and he's playing so well.
Even that took a little while to happen.
That's true, but I mean, Brad Stevens' first year in the league, he had new pieces to the team and the organization. I mean, you kind of had to see what you had first.
Yeah, and Fareed has one rough start for like 5 or 6 minutes, and he pulls him. It's unbelievable. You got to let the guy get in the game.
Is it first time coach-itis? Is that what you're saying?
It disgusts me. That's what I'm saying.
Oh wow, you are a little off. Nick, I believe you had somebody you wanted to talk about. You were signaling at me.
The Brow.
Oh,
Do you like the Brow tomorrow?
I do like the Brow tomorrow night.
Against the Bucks.
Oh, the Bucks are just totally decimated. They have nobody who's tall enough to defend him anyway.
I was gonna say name the starting big men tomorrow. Go. Nobody has any idea. It's going to be Zaza. Yeah, it's going to be Zaza.
That's all I've got, because Henson's out.
Yeah, Henson's out. Sanders is out with some eye infection, or he got poked in the eye or something like that. So they said out with an eye. That's his injury.
Yeah, he had blurred vision.
One eye.
Okay, so Dwayne Wade was out with a headache today, and John Henson's out with blurred vision.
Yeah,
What is going on?
Milwaukee gets the award this year for weirdest injuries.
No, okay. This is a thing. We've talked about this before. When teams are tanking, players will go down with mysterious illnesses to be out longer, periods. Like MCW was out with a weird knee injury that was like, oh, he'll take like a couple days. Took like 3 weeks.
Yeah, he's probably out on the town in Philadelphia with a knee injury.
There you go.
So
he's out with a knee. He's
probably enjoying his paycheck.
That is very, very true. No, I think they know.
The only thing you can't enjoy in Philly.
They know he's the future, and they're like, don't waste him on a season.
His long rookie season, he needs a lot of rest.
That is very true.
I mean, they do double up in games.
They do double up.
All right, we've mentioned a lot of big names. Obviously, you can't get 3 or 4. You can't get Melo and Kevin Love and the Brow and DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, we have to go for somebody.
But you can get Foy, and I would also keep an eye on Ilyasova tomorrow if he's playing.
Okay, yeah. That actually,
if he plays.
Speaking of that, I actually really like Brandon Knight. New Orleans, they're 20th against the point guard, but also that doesn't include the whole season of Brian Roberts. Brian Roberts is not. He's a little guy. I don't think he can guard Brandon Knight at all.
Yeah, I really like Brandon Knight. I really like the way he's been playing. And
you didn't like him last night. You like him tomorrow, though. I'm going to call you out on that. You said
okay.
I came in your
I
office.
wasn't a big fan of him last night, but it was tough with all the injuries that
Hold on, against Boston.
Yeah, it was tough with the injuries for Boston. You know?
Oh my, yeah. Jared Bayless, go ahead and guard Brandon Knight.
Somebody just got caught apparently.
Yeah, you got
caught. No,
I'm
out. Not saying it was tough for them because those players were coming in, but I was saying it was tough to look at the lineup and say, "Oh, is Bradley going to play? Rondo's not going to play. What's going to go on?" Stuff like that. Another thing about tomorrow night is Tony Parker, no surprise, is going to be sitting. Popovich doing his usual thing, and I really, really like the way Corey Joseph has been playing.
Yeah, he's. I thought it was going to go to Patty Mills. Patty Mills had that one great game, and then Corey Joseph just stayed consistent, and Patty Mills dropped off.
Yeah, Patty Mills was a big spark off the bench in Portland, and Popovich is kind of putting him into that role when San Antonio has some players out resting or have some injuries. And I think that's pretty much all he's going to be here on out. But Corey Joseph is a guy that has some spark, and I think he could have a big future.
I agree, and we are talking Wednesday lineup breakdown here on the Star Fantasy League show. Tweet us at SFL Show if you have any questions or comments about Wednesday. There are a lot of games, a lot to break down. We're obviously not going to get to every single matchup that happens, but tweet us at SFL Show. We'd love to hear your feedback, comments, anything you got for us.
I like to talk.
I know, that's why I got.
You're aware of that.
I got to break in for our.
I think we're all.
Nick knows that.
I got to let our listeners know what's going on, how to get a hold of us. If you keep talking, they don't know how to find us.
If you tweet me at SFL Zach, I will probably have things to say, and that's Zach with an H. An H.
No K.
Do not screw that up. Every letter I've ever gotten from any family member besides my parents has been a K.
Okay. I actually got chastised for that one
You're
time.
talking to somebody whose name is Jonathan, and I've gotten 3 H's, 7 H's, 4 N's, like so
7
many
H's?
Not literally,
7
Nick. Come on
H's?
now.
Jonald.
Yeah, Jonald's very easy to spell. Nobody will screw that up.
Jonathan.
Let's get back. We've only got a few minutes left. Like I said, we need some value. We need the low players to put on. As much as I talk crap about Brian Roberts, I like him. I think he's been very serviceable. He's around the 7,800 to 85 range. He's been putting up these 20 to 25 points, which is exactly what you need to hit value and some there.
Let me give you some mid-range guys.
Okay, perfect. This is what I want. I want high, I want mid, I want low so that people can get everybody in their lineups.
Brandon Jennings against the 29th ranked Cleveland defense, a.k.a. Kyrie Irving, had 21 points, 13 assists, and 4 boards the last time he went up against Cleveland this year. I think he'll go off again tomorrow. I also think Josh Smith, 28th ranked against small forward, who had 25, 8, and 3 last time he played Cleveland.
Yeah, I actually like Josh Smith.
This is going to be a team that is on short legs, and Detroit should have their way with them.
Smoove,
I would
like
worry
Jay
about.
Smoove?
Yeah, I like Jay Smoove. I would just be worried about this being a blowout. Honestly.
Yeah, that is true. There's no lineup for this because I think that they're worried that if Cleveland plays a full game tonight, that they're in trouble. They're going to get blown out.
They might be.
This over under could end up being like 210-ish. There should
be a lot of legs in this game. A lot of slow legs.
This is true.
Well, speaking of mid-range, what about your boy Damari Carroll? Don't like him?
Damari. No, I mean, he requires a certain amount of players like dying and not being available.
He requires a certain amount of patience is what he requires, is because if he's not getting steals or blocks, you're going to have a tough night.
Yeah, he fills the stat sheet, but only where it gets you fantasy points, and if he's not getting, like you said, if he's not getting those points, steals, blocks, rebounds, maybe a couple assists just randomly thrown in there, he's not very good.
I agree, though. I think he's actually starting to reach out of his
so you start
range.
I
did.
Yes,
I did.
Up.
I did, just a little.
Nick, you can't come on the show and then try to set the host up for failure.
Hey, just a little.
All right, Zach, let's set you up for failure. You're continuing with the mid-range plays on StarFantasyLeagues.com.
All right. David Lee, a little bit higher tier of the mid-range.
Is he playing?
He is playing. He played last game.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Bogut. Bogut's
out. Jermaine O'Neal's out.
Whoa.
David Lee, last time he played the Heat, which was this year, 32, 14, and 3.
That's an okay stat line, I would say.
That's a little bit decent. And I would like to give one more top-tier guy because I think this guy could be the play of the night.
We've got 7 of them already. This is every major player
I haven't announced my play of the night.
Okay. Oh, hold on. No, is this your play? Are you saying it right now? Is this your play of the night?
Drum roll?
Well, you're gonna blow the lead here?
Yes.
Okay. No. Name one. We have to go to commercial with your play of the day. That's apparently a thing now. I want to know somebody else's value.
All right. I'll give a couple lower value guys
Thank you. Jeez, you're Seth today. You're killing the
format
of the show.
I am not Seth, and I will never be Seth. And
All right.
I'm very
tell us
happy
a couple
about
guys
that.
before we go. Come on.
Patrick Patterson, you got to keep an eye out for Amir Johnson tomorrow night because he played very well, and I think he's still got a favorable matchup, does he not?
I believe he does. Yeah, against Atlanta, Paul Millsap.
Yeah, Paul Millsap.
He's gonna play center basically.
Yeah,
Millsap has to play center.
Yeah, I don't think that Patterson's gonna have any trouble putting up points if
he
that's the
plays.
case.
Yeah.
And once again, as I talked about David Lee with Bogut and O'Neal out, Draymond Green is a great option tomorrow night with Miami having no answer down low.
All right, who's your play of the day? Go ahead.
Chris Paul, who loves to teach young point guards lessons, and he will absolutely destroy Damian Lillard tomorrow night and already has with 34, 16, and 6 steals.
Wow, that is amazing. What a play of the day. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
The Star Fantasy League show is now part of the Nick Monsanto show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now.
Yeah.
Are we on the radio? Are we talking right now? I want to make sure we didn't mute ourselves again because apparently for the first time on live radio I decided to come out of a break and not unmute.
So alter your dial on your AM/FM stereo.
For those that aren't old-timey men, turn off your radio.
Turn it off.
Seth, we love you. We miss you. Please come back. Nick, get out of here.
But
Why am I on here? I just get abused.
Let's remind ourselves.
You get abused.
Let's remind ourselves that Seth Young put tape all over his face last night while we were talking about NBA as a form of entertaining himself.
Okay, I was saying, was that to entertain the people who watch? Because there's like 8 people who watch on YouTube, and there's definitely more listeners. So I don't think he helped our show by making an ass of himself and making us uncomfortable on the air.
What's new? It was all about him.
You know what's not about him? Value on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Zach, what do we got? You going to give some value away to our listeners?
On Tuesday and Thursday, and you're not going to want to miss out on this Thursday because Thursday we will have a $50 free roll in the last night before we hit All-Star Weekend. And unfortunately, that'll be a little bit of a break for us until NBA starts back up again with hockey overseas.
Yeah.
USA,
Don't
let's
worry.
go.
On Thursday's show, we are going to have an Olympic what-if fantasy show. We are going to break down Thursday's lineup. We are also going to give away free free actual money to our listeners.
Value.
It is true. It's value. It's money. All you got to do is tweet us at SFL Show. We're going to give you $5 in your account for nothing.
Seriously, come try out the site. There's so many cool features. There's so much to do. There's so much to look at. Follow your games live.
So much to learn, too. I learn every night I play basketball.
Nick,
I actually learn something.
You came in. You weren't too fond of basketball. You're starting to learn. We didn't tear you apart too badly.
Starting to love
today.
it, but I will love it when hockey comes back.
Yeah, like I said, guys, if you want to tweet us at SFL Show, we'll give you $5 free to get started. No strings attached. It's literally free money. And like we said, Thursday, there's always that free roll. What's better than getting free money, guys?
Shout out to Team USA Thursday morning.
Ryan Callahan, Rochester represent. Let's go.
And we're going to go with it, guys, since he's not here. If you guys didn't know that Lou Aldeng no longer plays for the Chicago Bulls, you need our help a lot more than you think. Take it easy, guys.